Very good evening and warm welcome to Breaking Today News right here on Switch TV. My name is Lincoln Ombogo. Our sign language interpreter is Michael Maithe. We have a lot prepared for you tonight, but first, let's take a look at the headlines. Who arrived in Djibouti on Sunday morning was accompanied to the summit by Foreign Affairs Cabinet Secretary Rachel Omamo.
The 38th Extraordinary Summit of the Assemblies of Head of State and Government of the Intergovernmental Authority on Development held in Djibouti was convened by Prime Minister Abdallah Hamdok of Sudan, who is currently chairperson of the IGAD Assembly, and attended by Presidents Ismail Omar Guelleh of Djibouti, Mohamed Abdullahi of Somalia, and Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed of Ethiopia. At the meeting, also attended by the chairperson of the Africa Union Commission AUC, Musa Faki Mahamat, South Sudan and Uganda were represented by Vice President Rebecca Garang and Ambassador Rebecca Otengo, the country's envoy to Djibouti respectively. In his welcoming remarks, host President Ismail Guelleh applauded the progress made in the search of sustainability, peace and stability in the regions despite disruptions posed by the COVID-19 pandemic and other setbacks such as floods and the desert locust invasion. In his address, AUC chairperson Musa Faki Mahamat said the diplomatic tension between Kenya and Somalia was a concern for the African Union.
The recent tension between Somalia and Kenya, two neighboring countries, which led to the breakdown of diplomatic relations, remain a serious concern for the African Union. I would therefore like to call on the two parties to open dialogue with a view to the resumption of these relations and ask IGAD to strongly encourage them in this regard.
On Ethiopia, the AUC chairperson urged IGAD member states to assist the country in dealing with the humanitarian crises arising out of the conflicts in its Tigray region. Speaking just before the leaders retreated into a closed-door session, Prime Minister Hamdok said the meeting was called due to discuss ongoing regional peace and security processes in Sudan, South Sudan, Ethiopia and Somalia.
Our conversations at the closed session today remain bound by the principles of IGAD, which include the sovereign equality of all member states, non-interference in the internal affairs of member states, but also the peaceful settlement of conflict through dialogue and the maintenance of regional peace, stability, and security.
Meanwhile, former Nairobi County gubernatorial aspirant Miguna has announced his interest in the county's top position just days after Mike Mbuvi Sonko was impeached. Miguna, who was once nominated to be deputy governor by now impeached Governor Sonko, had his nomination countered by a court motion for invalidity of Miguna being unsuitable for the position.
With Sonko being the second governor to be impeached after Kiambu Governor Ferdinand Waititu, Miguna is the first candidate to announce his aspiration to vie for the gubernatorial election that is supposed to take place 60 days after the impeachment of a governor. The lawyer, who is based in Canada, was in February 2018 forced out of the country of allegations of swearing in former Prime Minister Raila Odinga that followed the 2017 disputed election. Miguna in 2017 had vied for the same seat on an independent ticket. He later stepped down but continued being a critic of Mike Sonko and Evans Kidero, who were competing against each other, terming them rogue and unable to lead and manage Nairobi County. The lawyer, who is a dual citizenship holder, was cleared by the High Court to enter the country in February this year but was barred at the airport and had to return to Canada forcefully. As per the Constitution, the impeached Governor Mike Sonko is allowed to vie again, but he hasn't come forward. Earlier this morning, he accused the Senate of unfair treatment. Asked if Deputy President William Ruto's camp will support his candidature if he vied, Nandi Senator Samson Cherargei steered off the topic but promised to be keen on the issue as events unfold.
If he decides to run, you remember Nairobi is the capital city of ASSASINATE nation. As friends and supporters of Deputy President, we will cross that bridge when we reach there. I don't want to be preemptive, but we will be keen. I can assure you that we will be keen in what happens in Nairobi.
The Nairobi County is a focal point of the Kenyan politics, being the capital city, and only time will tell if Mike Sonko will have a comeback or if Miguna will be allowed into the country. Reporting for Switch TV, my name is Joan Kutuny.
Thank you, Joan Coutinho. In other stories, Deputy President William Ruto and his allies have urged the government to get their priorities right, especially at a time when the country is fighting COVID-19. Uasin Gishu Governor Jackson Mandago has also proposed that a clause be introduced to allow governors to vie for a third term, following one of the popular proposals in the BBI to root for more counterfeits. Joel Chacha has filed the following report.
Attending a church service in Marala, Samburu County, Deputy President William Ruto has called on a section of politicians to prioritize matters affecting Kenyans at the moment and not far-fetched political interests such as constitutional amendments.
Na sisi wote tukubaliane ya kwamba tutatembea barabara ambayo tutaweka priorities ambazo zinafaa kulinda maisha ya wananchi kwanza, watoto wetu wasome, ndio tuweze kushughulikia mambo yale mengine ya siasa. Kwa sababu hiyo mambo ingine yote hayawezi kwenda mahali popote kama hatujashughulikia mambo ya afya ya wananchi, biashara na watoto wao kusoma.
Kikuyu Member of Parliament Kimani Ichung'wah also reiterated Ruto's remarks, adding that efforts should be made to attend urgent issues like the doctor's strike expected to commence Monday.
Tunaomba kwa heshima, tafadhali tuangazie matakwa na maslahi ya wananchi wa kawaida. Na yale mambo yanasumbua mwananchi sahi, atatoa chakula wapi? Madaktari wakienda kwa mgomo kesho, aende hospitali, atatibiwa na nani? Januari shule ikifunguliwa, karo itatoka wapi? Hawa wabunge wote wako hapa, watakuambia tunaenda mwezi wa 7 wa mwaka wa fedha wa serikali. Pesa ya CDF hatujapata hata peni ama ndururu ya kuwapea basari. Governor wenyu hapa, Governor Mandago, atakuambia wako na miezi 3, miezi 4 hawajapewa pesa ya county.
Uasin Gishu Governor Jackson Mandago has proposed that a clause in the BBI be added to allow governors run for third terms.
Alafu hii BBI kidogo mheshimiwa naibu ya rais, kama watapitisha, ongeza clause hapo ya kuallow mimi 5 fresh. Kwa sababu pesa itakuwa imekuwa mingi. Tumehangaika hapa na Moses na pesa kidogo ya kufanya kazi. Kama pesa itaongezwa, wacha watu wengine wasikuje kusema nikamilishe ile manda wangekamilisha. Nipewe nafasi sasa nikamilishe juu pesa imepatikana.
This comes as the Independent Election and Boundaries Commission (IEBC) on Saturday announced 400 job opportunities for the Building Bridges Initiative verification process. Joel Chacha, Switch TV, Nairobi.
Thank you, Joel Chacha, for that story. Moving on, the chairperson of the Council of Governors, OPARANYA, has called on the national government to intervene and address the demands of health workers, citing the inability of county governments to address the issues of doctors and nurses. Doctors have issued a strike notice effective tomorrow, with nurses in some parts of the country continuing with their strike. Governor OPARANYA has, however, added that the Salaries and Remuneration Commission shall be heavily involved in this matter.
Katika Kenya kwa sababu ya mkomo ya madaktari na wauguzi wote, kwa sababu ya demands zao. Nataka mjue zile demands za madaktari na wale nurses na national government, kwa sababu madaktari wanataka risk allowance na sisi kama counties hatuwezi kulipa risk allowance mpaka ipitishwe na SRC. Ndio tulipo. Wanataka ile health commission. Sisi kama kwa governors hatuwezi kupitisha sheria yoyote katika county assembly zetu kuleta commission. Ningeomba tu, kwa sababu sisi ndio tunapata shida. Kwa hiyo mambo yote nimesema ile ambayo inakumba counties, sisi ndio tunapata shida. Tumekaa miezi 3 hakuna pesa yoyote kutoka Nairobi kuja county. Saa hii sisi tunakopa pesa ya kulipa mishahara, na ukilipa mtu mshahara na afanye kazi yoyote, hiyo ni kama kuiba. Watu wanakaa kwa maofisi, wanasoma magazeti, wengine wanalala hapo, wanasinzia na hakuna kazi ya kufanya.
The Orange Democratic Movement Ugunja branch has today called on the police to move with speed and investigate alleged assassination attempts on the chairperson of the National Assembly Public Accounts Committee, OPIYO, WANDAYI. Ugunja ODM branch chairperson Otieno Owange has accused a section of political leaders in Siaya of engaging in premature campaigns ahead of the 2022 general elections. Owange said that the quest for the gubernatorial seat come 2022 has made the leaders engage in divisive politics, undermining party activities in the area.
Honorable WANDAYI is our MP, and we would naturally be the first people to know his future political plans, if any. To the best of our knowledge, and for the avoidance of doubt, Honorable WANDAYI has not declared interest in the position of Siaya Governor or any other political position for that matter in 2022 or any other time. We only see the MP preoccupied with executing his mandate as our representative in the constituency and on the national arena. Why then would a cabal of politicians be hell-bent on blocking a so far non-existent candidature? What has finally compelled us to go public is the latest chilling episode in which the Sigombe MCA has been captured on audio, recklessly threatening violence and vowing spillage of blood to ensure that Honorable WANDAYI paves the way for Senator to become Siaya Governor and someone else to become Ugunja MP. We construe this as pure assassination plot against the Ugunja MP. We are calling upon the police to move swiftly and thoroughly investigate these heinous plans, apprehend the culprits, and arraign them in court.
With our story from Siaya County, we now take a short commercial break. Stay tuned, we'll be back with more. Welcome back and thank you for keeping it Switch TV. We are live on Facebook, YouTube and Twitter. On YouTube, we are live as Switch TV News. Send in your feedback to our SMS line 111 and at Switch TV Kenya and at Lincoln Wumbogo. Kinango constituency residents in Kwale County now want the government to stop the construction of the MWACHE Dam project, which is funded by the World Bank due to what they are calling being shortchanged by the National Land Commission in the compensation process. Leading a protest, Kwale County Women Rep Zulekha Hassan has asked the President to intervene so that the residents can receive proper compensation in the project that is aimed at harnessing the flood flows from MWACHE River Basin in Kinango and help tackle persistent water shortages in the coastal region.
Kama stakeholder mkubwa, manake waziri wa maji ni wako. Ingekuwa si wewe kutaka huu mradi, hakungekuwa na NLC kuingilia ama mtu mwingine. Kama stakeholder main uingilie, isitishwe haya mambo ya malipo mpaka wananchi waweze kuelezwa kinaga ubaga, kwa sababu sasa nyanya anaingizwa peke yake, hajaelewa, hajui kusoma, anaingizwa peke yake kwa rumu, atie sahihi ambayo itamwangamiza.
Shida yetu kuu, hii pesa tunayoipewa hatujathibitishiwa ya kwamba inaendana na kulingana na katiba ya Kenya ya gatuzi la Kwale. Ni kidogo na tunasema hatuitaki. Ama namna gani waajiriwa?
Ni kweli huu mradi unatunyanyasa sisi wananchi. Kusema ule ukweli. Juzi kweli tuliitwa huko ofisini. Kufika huko nikafanya kwa bwana huyo mama wa NLC, saini hapa, nikamuuliza ni saini nini hapa na mimi sijui. Akaniambia saini ukitoka huko nje utaenda ambiwa pesa yako. Nikamwambia mimi ni saini na hata sijui na saini tu huko utaenda kuambiwa. Mimi sina namna, nikabidi tu ni saini shingo pande, pia mimi sitaki. Kufika kule nikawauliza, sasa mwasema ni saini kivipi? Mbona mniambii mmea wangu na nyumba yangu ni pesa ngapi? Mmea wako wa muhogo ni shilingi 10 wewe. Na afu nyumba yako utaona hapa kwa karatasi. Nikarusha ile kalamu pale chini. Nikasema mimi hata ngoja mwanzo naanze kufikiria. Nilitamani tu nianguke hapo nife. Wale watu wanelisiwa wakaniambia nini? Usifanye hivyo mama, jikazanishe tu usaini hivyo kwa sababu ni mambo yamepitishwa na serikali.
Elsewhere, residents are torn between anxiety and anger in the streets of the Central African Republic's capital, Bangui, as rebel groups seize control of key roads leading to the main city a week before the presidential and parliamentary elections.
Coalition of opposition parties in Central African Republic today called in a statement for postponement of presidential and legislative elections due to go ahead later this week.
I only ask all the candidates who are running in the presidential and legislative elections to be self-controlled, to calm down and to behave like good citizens worthy of the Central African Republic.
The coalition of the Democratic Opposition COD 2020 made the call a day after the government accused the group's former leader, ex-President Francois Bozize, of trying to stage a coup d'etat as rebel forces seized control of key routes to the capital Bangui. A statement from the coalition demanded the postponement of the December group elections until the reestablishment of peace and security.
We have had enough of this behavior which divides people on the eve of an election. Our politicians play us off against one another while they get along well with each other, but they push us to divide, to kill each other. We want peace in this country. Talking about the Seleka in this Central African Republic brings back bad memories. This new situation makes us angry because we want to go about our activities freely. Every time we run, it's not good.
Presidential and legislative elections are due to take place on December 27th, while the opposition fears massive electoral fraud. COD 2020 includes the main parties and movements opposed to President 14 Archange Touadera, who is expected to win a second mandate in polls. On Saturday, leaders from the three main armed rebel groups occupying large areas of the Central African Republic announced a coalition called the Coalition of Patriots for Change (CPC). UN peacekeepers deployed in response to fresh attacks as UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres appealed for calm and called on all sides to ensure credible elections and peace. Majibu Kisao for Switch TV.
Thank you, Majibu Kitsao. Meanwhile, a car bomb targeting an Afghan lawmaker has killed 8 people and wounded more than 15 others in Kabul. This is the latest attack to rock the Afghan capital. Kabul has been hit by a wave of deadly violence in recent months, despite the Taliban and government engaging in peace talks to end the country's long conflict. Nikundi Calvin with this report.
Kabul has seen a spate of targeted assassinations of prominent figures in recent months, including top officials, journalists, clerics, politicians, and rights activists. Last week, a deputy governor of Kabul province was killed when a bomb attached to his vehicle detonated while he was on his way to his office. Today's car bomb comes just 2 days after 15 children were killed and more wounded when a motorbike laden with explosives blew near a religious gathering in a remote part of the eastern province of Ghazni. The Taliban have denied involvement and said the blast occurred when an exploded ordnance detonated near the children. Violence has also surged across several provinces in Afghanistan this year. Attacks by the Taliban have killed nearly 500 civilians and wounded more than 1,000 others over the past 3 months. Peace talks, which opened in September in the Qatari capital of Doha, are currently on a break until early January. Nyakundi Kelvin, Switch TV.
Somalia's government has accused Kenya of arming local militia to attack its forces on the Mandera border just days after severing diplomatic ties with its East African neighbor. In a statement posted to its Twitter account on Saturday, Somalia's Ministry of Information has said the move can undermine general security of the Horn of Africa region. Somalia's government ordered Kenyan diplomats to leave Mogadishu after talks with Somaliland started, and in turn, Kenya declared its plan to open a consulate in Somaliland. Diplomatic relations soured last year after Kenya accused Somalia of auctioning 4 offshore oil blocks in a disputed area, an allegation Somalia has denied. Elsewhere, Britain may agree on mini deals with the European Union if trade talks fail. UK Cabinet Office Minister Michael Gove said that Britain and the European Union could engage in a series of mini unilateral deals if no trade agreement is reached by the end of the month. There are only 11 days remaining before Britain exits the European Union.
UK Cabinet Office Minister Michael Gove, appearing before Parliament, says the Britain and the bloc's 27 member states could form a new special relationship after the end of the transition period, more like what the UK and United States have, which could include agreements he described as side deals. Any trade agreement is realistically unlikely to be approved until after Christmas, meaning that lawmakers may only vote on a potential deal just hours ahead of 31st December 2020. Prime Minister Boris Johnson travelled to Brussels on Wednesday for dinner with European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, but the last-minute effort failed to produce a breakthrough on specific issues including fishing rights, government aid for companies, and how disputes will be settled. The British pound could plunge by 10% or more if the United Kingdom does not finalise a trade deal with the European Union this weekend. Whereas a weaker pound could help British exporters cope with the Brexit shock, it will push the prices British consumers pay for food and other imports. Nyakundi Kelvin, Switch TV.
Thank you, Nyakundi Kelvin. Let's now take a look at what happened during the week in our Business Weekly Recap with John Kutunyi.
Free mobile transaction for money less than 1,000 shillings will stop come 31st of December. This is according to the Central Bank of Kenya. This is expected to have a negative impact on the cashless economy, as it will mean less transaction by Kenyans, avoiding money transfer deductions. However, there will be no charges for person-to-person transfers of up to 100 shillings to any customer or across the networks. In other stories, the Kenyan shilling remains stable against major international and regional currencies during the week ending December 17th. It exchanged 111 shillings and 59 cents by US dollar on December 17th compared to 111 shillings and 44 cents by US dollar on December 10th. There have been fears of the declining value of the Kenyan shilling against the dollar, with indications pointing mostly to reduced trade and tourism activities. And finally, tax collection for the month of November have declined by 22.1% to 101.4 billion shillings. This is in contrast to 130.1 billion shillings in collections at the same time last year. The sharp decrease is as a result of economic disruptions caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. KRA has so far collected a total of 527.7 billion shillings in tax revenues in the current financial year. Reporting for the weekly recap, my name is Joan Kutuny.
Thank you, Joan Kutuny. It's now time to get sporty with Cedric Oronje.
Many thanks for staying with us. My name is Cedric Oronje, and now let's head straight to the fields where Kenyans have ruled the 2020 Men's Taipei Marathon in Taiwan after former two-time Paris Marathon champion Paul Lonyangakata led compatriot Elisha Rotich to a 1-2 finish. Lonyangata, who was competing for the first time this season after winning the Shanghai International Marathon in 2019, cut the tape in 2 hours, 8 minutes, 26 seconds, beating fellow Kenyan Rotich, who came second in a time of 2 hours, 12 minutes, 15 seconds, while Spaniard Tidrek Nume was third in 2 hours, 15 minutes and 19 seconds.
已经笃定破纪录了。恭喜罗亚根达，2小时9分18秒。